if you're struggling right now, do you want your story to be that you were struggling and then you quit and then you maybe found something else that was like okay but not great? Or do you want your story to be you were struggling and you kept struggling and then 3 weeks later it clicked and then your life was different forever? What would be a story that you're more likely to, bounce your grandkids on your knee one day and tell them, like, this is what happened? Like,
Mm.
sometimes the struggle, actually, you can look back on fondly and being like, I'm kind of glad that happened, even though it sucked in the moment. I'm glad that happened because it just makes for a hell of a story, and I earned it.
Today we have Patrick Foote on the show. He is a another unicorn in this space. He had an unconventional entry into the high ticket space with zero experience, zero training. He had to battle out an experienced closer who did 1.2 million in revenue within the last 10 months, right before he started. So, if you want to learn some unconventional golden nuggets from a natural, things that might be the very thing that you're missing to level up your skills, then stay tuned. Thank you so much for coming on, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's amazing to be here. As at this time 12 months ago, I was delivering DoorDash. So to be invited, onto this podcast and talk about kind of the life-changing power of this industry is a really big honor for me. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Dude, I think share a little bit of like how you got started, how you got into the space, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Sure, yeah. So it's a very long story, and I'll try to condense it. So I tried my hand at entrepreneurship with a social media marketing agency, and it was going very poorly. It was super up and down. There was a lot of turnover, a lot of churn, and it just wasn't really working out. And my only stable source of income was driving DoorDash 6 days a week. And I mean, I have a good degree from a really good school, the University of Texas Austin. I had the opportunity to pursue finance, where my dad's, he's a stud in finance, and I had everything kind of laid out there, and I want to do something different. And at 27 years old, I was failing, and it was super traumatic. And I had actually joined an agency who was one of the coaches in the program that I joined. And I joined his agency to be a setter. And it was a disaster because all of the stuff that used to work in social media marketing, a lot of it doesn't work anymore. And me and this other closer, this guy named Jacob Jordan, who's a phenomenal salesman, we were we weren't closing any deals because the lead flow wasn't there. We were literally taking like one call a day, and it was going really poorly. So I was at a point in my life where I was sinking deep into debt, and I was like, I got to get a job. Like, this has not worked out. I'm gonna have to start at square zero, and everything in my life that I've like worked for and tried to do is not working out. So I was like cold applying to jobs on LinkedIn and going through kind of some interview things where it was like, if I get the job, I'll be making 55, 60K a year. Like, this is just not, it just wasn't very fun to think about. So Jacob ended up connecting me to, he was like, I got an idea. He connected me to a high ticket sales recruiter who ended up connecting me with Sam Shaw, and to sell investment banking, basically an investment banking recruiting program. And for me, I was like, what what better could I sell? I mean, my dad's in investment banking still. I flirted with potentially going into investment banking myself. I was like, this is the perfect thing for me to sell. And usually the only way to get access to someone like this recruiter would be to go through a $10,000 sales course, right? And it just turned out to be a life-changing connection for me. I went from driving DoorDash 6 days a week just to make ends meet to quickly, my life being changed. And yeah, what you were mentioning about me competing with this other guy. So Sam, the owner of the company, he was like, I got one position available, but I have two people that I really like. You're going to come in and you're going to compete with this guy who did 1.2 million in revenue over the last 10 months. And I was like, how the heck am I going to compete with this guy, right? I have no experience. I felt like a total imposter, but I put my head down. I worked basically like an investment banker in terms of the effort that I put in. And I mean, it's a cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Hard work pays off.
The thing that I think fascinates me the most is the fact that you did come in without any formal sales training, because most people in the high ticket space did come in through some sort of program. So since you are a natural, right? What are the top three qualities that you think make you so good without sales training?
Good question. So I think the biggest one and the thing that really comes naturally to me is being very leaned out and conversational. I have always put myself in the shoes of someone who's being sold. And if I were on the other side of a sales conversation, I would want to like the closer. I would want to be like, this guy's cool. This guy's relating to me. This guy's funny, and he's not making me uncomfortable with all of these, kind of just there's a way that I talk where I am like befriending the other person I'm speaking with, and I'm being very, very leaned out. Now, along with that, and I think this is the biggest thing that helped me out right away, be successful, is I have so much belief in the product that I'm selling. I remember Alex Hermosi one time went to be a consultant for a high ticket offer that was struggling, and he asked the closers like, how good is the offer? Like, how good is the return on investment? And the closers were like, it's okay, this and that. And Alex was like, all right, stop right there. Your belief in this offer should be so high that you are recommending to your friends and family, like, look, you should do this. You yourself should buy into this offer. So I have so much belief in what I'm selling that I feel like I would be a bad person if I let them off the hook easy with saying no and giving me BS objections. Like it would make me like a bad person to them. So it doesn't even feel like I'm being, dishonest or anything like that. Like I have a moral responsibility to help them out. That is how much I feel like, it's important that they come in the program.
We should all have that level of conviction and passion for the thing that we sell, whether it's your own offer or you're selling someone else's. Something else I'm curious about for you is, if you were in charge of building a sales team, what are the qualities you would look for? So we know conviction is one, but what are some other ones?
100% hard workers. I mean, we are in control of how much revenue that we bring in. This is not an industry where people are not in control of their income. Not and when I say that, I mean in accounting, in consulting, people are paid, they get an offer letter where their income, their salary is laid out for them at the start of the year. And then after 12 months, the end of the year, there's a performance assessment. In this industry, people are directly able to put in a ton of effort, a ton of hard work to be in control of their own income. So if someone comes into a company and they are asking a ton of questions and they're reading every testimonial on the website, they have the ability to control how much money they make every month, how much money they make me as the owner of the company every month. So I've noticed, and being in this for about 10 months now, we've cycled through some other closers and some other setters, and there is a 100% direct correlation between the people who come in and ask them those questions and raise their hand when they need help and grind on this thing for, just get off the ground, like putting in a ton of effort into the amount of money that they make. And in turn, more importantly for me as the business owner, how much money, how much top line revenue they're bringing into the company. So that would be the first part of that answer. Second part would be just be a person who makes the effort to get to know the other people on the team. Team culture is a huge part of this, in my opinion, the success of a company. I want every person that I hire to be on the team for forever, right? Like I don't want to cycle through new people. I want the culture of the team to be strong. So those are a couple of things that I would look for.
I like that one about the team culture because that's something I think we don't think about. Everyone just wants to come in and kind of put their head down and try to hit their numbers so they don't get kicked off the team.
Right.
But actually talking to people and really like leaning on other people on the team who've been crushing it for support, that could take you a long way too and actually help you hit those numbers. You know, there's something that we have in common. Like I know you mentioned when we spoke before that you used to day trade, and I also used to day trade, right? And so that had me thinking because I was thinking about the other people I know in the high ticket space who are crushing it, who also used to day trade. So I wonder, do you think there's a relationship between like our mindsets, like people who are, who have the guts to day trade and, actually crushing it in sales? What do you think?
100%. I think there's a direct correlation between, people who day trade and who sign up for the high ticket sale. I mean, not 100%, but I think it doesn't surprise me that we have that in common, that you have that in common with a lot of other people, because in day trading, there is immense risk involved, right? And there's also immense reward that could be involved with that. I think that mindset is so similar to the high ticket sales space where we could have a really, really amazing day. We could have a day that doesn't go well. There could be a really good month, really good year, a tougher year. Like we are signing up for that risk, right? And I think too, there's an element of doing everything that we can, even though we are taking a risk, we're not playing roulette. We do what we can, like in day trading, to know as much as we can to make kind of an edge to maximize our chances of being successful, getting that reward. And in sales, it's the same way, right? Like we don't have control over, at the end of the day, a person's financial situation or things like that, but we do have control on being the best that we can be, making essentially calculated gambles on ourselves to get that reward. And there are like what we're doing is, so day trading is similar to gambling, right? And being a high ticket salesperson is not the most secure.
I want to say we like the rush because that's why the highs are so high.
Exactly.
And but with both, right? And with both, there's a lot that we have control over, like just trying to understand as much as we can about the market or about the offer. And doing our best to make sure that, every day we win, right? But there's also a lot we don't have control over with both. And so I think that's what makes it so juicy and fun.
That is my favorite word, the juice. Like my buddies have always said footy, and they call me footy. They're like, footy loves the juice. There's a similar juice, a similar rush in sales and, closing a deal, closing big deals.
You you genuinely love the game. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of just trying to make it work. And it can be stressful and there's like the negative sides to it. Um, I want to I want to inspire people who are maybe in a rut or who are kind of struggling right now. So because like what ends up happening is so many people come in and then they come out of the game, they quit.
Yeah,
So for people who are kind of struggling, they are in a rut, they're not, making as much money as they want to make, they're not helping as many people as they want to help. I guess what advice would you give them to actually enjoy the game?
I would give them the advice to enjoy the game. I
Yeah.
would I would say like the offer should sell itself, like just with the ROI. So you don't have to go in there and put a ton of pressure on yourself to deliver every single word perfectly. If you have 100% belief in what you're selling and the fact that people are going to come in the program, they're going to buy, and then they're going to text you 2 weeks later saying thank you. Thank you for allowing me the chance to pay you guys 10K. So I'm in Cabo San Lucas right now. I landed yesterday. And when I was on the plane, I was reading this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is the name of the book. And one of the things that he was saying is it's counterintuitive, but the fewer fucks you give, the better things tend to turn out because you're not like in this mental kind of hamster wheel of, all right, well, I'm struggling right now. now I got to make more money. And to make more money, I have to put my eight game on and crush this deal. Just lean back, know that what you're selling is truly a life-changing thing for the other person. And for, I think for most things in the high ticket sales space, what you're selling can be life-changing for the other person. And it's not about you as the closer. It's about them and really, giving them the opportunity to change their lives and really leaning out and being like, this person needs what I have. I'm good. Like I'm fine. But like for them, this is all about them. It's not about me.
Absolutely. I think sales is just the perfect vehicle to grow in general. Even if it's not the long-term game for you, if you don't want to be in it forever, while you're here, I think people should just embrace the opportunity to face rejection and move past it and deal with their insecurities and all of the things that are holding them back, all their fears, that the things that make sales so tough. I would challenge people to at least overcome that before you move on to the next thing. Because if you just want to quit sales, I would say, well, convince me why you wouldn't give up on the next thing, you know? That's like, at least, I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion on it, but it's just like, if you're not willing to stick it out through this, why would you be successful in anything else? So you might as well embrace this.
I've been in those situations. I mean, when I was driving DoorDash every day, um, 12, 10 months ago before doing this, it was so painful in the time to be in it. But when it turned around for me, it was probably the happiest that I've ever been in my life. Like putting in that work, continuing to wake up every day and do everything that I could. And the fact that it did turn around for me, and I felt like it was because I kept showing up. I didn't tap out. I kept doing everything that I could. And when it did turn around, it it was so much more rewarding than if I was just like, oh man, like I and so here's what I would say. If you're struggling right now, do you want your story to be that you were struggling and then you quit and then you maybe found something else that was like okay but not great? Or do you want your story to be you were struggling and you kept struggling and then 3 weeks later it clicked and then your life was different forever? What would be a story that you're more likely to, bounce your grandkids on your knee one day and tell them, like, this is what happened? Like,
Mm.
sometimes the struggle, actually, you can look back on fondly and being like, I'm kind of glad that happened, even though it sucked in the moment. I'm glad that happened because it just makes for a hell of a story, and I earned it. I did it. Like I kept showing up and having that feeling of like actually earning something and achieving it through hard work is way better than if it just kind of happens. And I want to say this too, Princess. So I appreciate you telling me like I'm a natural, and I think I am. Like not, I just think it is what it is. Like there are a lot of things that naturally I suck at. This I happen to be really good at, but I work so damn hard. I really do. Like I start at 8 a.m. every day. I go until 11 p.m. because my prospects are on the West Coast and I'm in the Northeast. I I grind, and I think just if you're in a rut, just grind. Just keep on grinding. Just keep on grinding because really just it will pay off. I promise you. I guarantee you that it will work out for you. It's not a matter of if it'll work out. It's just a matter of when. Like God has a way of rewarding hard work.
Mm. I'm curious, do you have any unconventional sales tips or advice for the masses?
When I first started, I'd never invested in any sales training, right? So like I didn't really know how to overturn objections. So my shortcut for doing that was if someone had a really, really hard objection, or I mean, if it's really hard, then it might, they might just not see the value. But if someone had kind of some kind of weak objection, and I could tell that it was weak, and they might have been they may be like an alpha kind of personality where they're just like, I'm gonna make this cheesy objection, just whatever. My shortcut for that would be like, yeah, that's totally fine, man. And look, you totally don't have to do this. Like, my life will not change in one way or the other. The company's life will not change. We talk to a lot of people every day. We're helping a lot of people. You don't have to do this. That's totally fine. And and when someone hears something like that, they think like, wait, what? Oh, I, well, no, I actually I do want to do it because of X, Y, and Z. And my mentor, a guy named Noah Axel, who just a stud, this was one of the first things he taught me, and it was like a light switch in my brain. Someone always has to be leaned in. Someone always has to be leaned in. And the person who's more leaned out is going to win. I remember back when I was in college, there was a girl that I really wanted to date, and I called her like 8 times one night, and guess what? She didn't call me back, and I never went on a date with her, right? Because
Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
imagine that, right? But I think that's like a good analogy of me being so leaned in where the other person's like, whoa, like I'm uncomfortable right now. I just can't wait to get off the call. Versus it's like, look, princess, you totally don't have to do this. If you come in, you put in the work, that would be, and you get results. And like, this is totally your call. And that wasn't phrased very well. Actually, that probably wouldn't make you vibe, but you know what I'm saying with like just being totally leaned out. So that's one thing. Another thing that I would say that I got from a man who I look up to very much, even though I've never met him, is Alex Hermosi, and that is owning the negatives. So the program that like my offer, right? Like what I'm selling for this investment banking, recruiting slash personal coaching company, I will tell people, look, this will not be a thing where you make the investment and we will do the work for you. We're not going to get a job for you. And if you expect us, if you make the investment and you sit back and you do nothing, this will not work for you and you should not do this program. But if you come into the program and you grind and you raise your hand when you need help and you ask questions and you follow the process the coaches have built A to Z, then I can 100% guarantee that this will work for you. So would you be person A, person who's gonna, come in and expect the coach to do the work for you? If you are that type of person, please, please, please don't do this. Or are you person B?
Yeah, so it's like just for people who need like a list, bullet points, gonna be complete and total detachment, right? Complete conviction in the product, but also making it very clear, like we're not doing it for you. You've got to actually do the work. I think the biggest thing is like mastering detachment because that's the part we forget about. Like just chill out, like relax.
Right.
And let
Right.
the person decide for themselves and like have them sell you on why they are actually going to do what it takes to be successful. Because you only want to work with people who are going to be successful, not the people who are looking for a handout. Because my friend, we are not here to save you, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't do the work for you. I tell people sometimes we will give you a Ferrari, but we're not driving it for you. We'll give you the keys.
I like that.
Yeah. We'll give you the keys.
Mm.
Got, it's a pretty quick car, right? And we're not going to drive it for you. You got to be the one to drive it. You got to turn the steering wheel. You got to hit the gas. You got to hit the brakes. But we're not going to drive it for you.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna store that in my
Steal it.
analogy bank. Yeah. So let's roll into my rapid fire questions, okay? So
Oh,
I'll ask the question and you answer with the first thing that comes to mind, okay?
sounds good.
First one. Describe your sales style in 2 to 3 words.
Caring and conversational.
Caring and conversational.
I care
Okay.
about I care about the other person. I don't care about the sale. I do, but I care about them getting help. So when I ask them questions in discovery, it's because I care about what they're struggling with. When I offer them the program, it's because I care about them and I want their lives to be changed. And conversational, like, when I say conversational, I just mean, shoulders lean back. We'll make a joke here and there. versus kind of this rigid, super tight script that just feels less like a conversation. It's like we're just talking. I care, I care about you. I care about the results you're going to get. Let's just have a conversation and figure out if this can help you out. And if it can, awesome. And if not, you'll get value either way.
Awesome. How the heck do you enjoy follow-ups? Like how do you enjoy that part of the game? Because I know the nature of your offer, it's people who they're like college kids. They don't have, the investment. So it's constantly a follow-up game, right? To get, to speak with the person who actually can give you a yes or a no. So what are your top two tips to make follow-ups effective?
Yeah. So great question. So tip one, I would say, would be right immediately when you know that you will need to follow up with this person in 2 days. Go to your Google Calendar, make a note of it. I will do like a 15-minute block for reminding myself, and I will color code it red just to let me know that this is different than like consultation. And so that's tip one. Tip two, find a way to enjoy it. And for me, just being honest, for me, I do enjoy it because I almost feel like an artist and one thing about me in the past is I've always been a really good writer. Like I used to one day I thought of back in the day I thought I would be a sports writer, and the follow-up game kind of brings out my artistic side of my brain where I can like craft and massage like the message that I'm getting to them. And so if you can find a way to enjoy and kind of see an art form in like every word that you say, like for example, just so I can stay organized on my end, when will you have that conversation with your parents? Not, hey, when are you going to talk to your parents? Look, just so I can stay organized on my end, when are you going to talk to your parents? Just something like that. Or a longer like and with like punctuation, I'm kind of like a grammar nerd. When I'm doing follow-up, I enjoy it because I feel like almost in an artist where I've got like this blank sheet of paper and I can take out the pen and I can draw whatever I want when I text them.
Geez, I wish I could like steal that part of your brain and like implant it into mine because I don't enjoy it.
Let me ask you, like, what about it don't you enjoy?
The fact that it feels like I'm chasing them. And so in order to craft messages in a way that doesn't sound like that, it's a lot of mental gymnastics for me. And I stress so much about sending it that I just end up not sending it. And then I've just wasted so much time figuring out how to write it. Or I'll send a message and then look at it. I'm like, okay, that was way too direct. Now they're not going to respond. It's like it's a mess.
Yeah, I hear you. And one thing that I'll say on that is being like the leaned out style when you're sending these texts. Like for example, like if someone has an objection over text, I'll be like, hey, you totally don't have to do this. Like it's totally cool either way. But yeah, in terms of feeling like you're chasing them, like you are, I am, we're all chasing leads, right? Like everyone's always chasing leads. But there's a nuance to how you can chase them where in their mind, it doesn't feel like you are chasing them. Or like for example, when someone's ghosting me, I won't be like, hey man, I keep reaching out and I don't hear from you. I'll be like, hey princess, were you eaten by a bear?
Yeah.
Question mark. I just like, that might make him laugh, right?
We should make like a follow-up like maybe like a templates or something for every scenario. I would buy it, honestly.
I'll share it with you for $0.00. And then if it crushes for you, it's going to the market.
Okay, cool. Nice. If you could be a specialist in one type of like martial art, if you were a fighter, right? Which kind would it be?
Mm. All right. So I'm not a huge martial arts guy, to be honest. I'm a huge sports fan. Not as much of a martial arts guy, but here's what I would say is in terms of my boxing style, probably the combat sport that I know the most of. I'd like to think of myself as Floyd Mayweather because I see sales as not solicitation, but a dance. Like we're dancing, like I'm asking you questions, you're responding. I'm hitting you with a little bit of information here. You're responding. I'm asking you if that all makes sense. Like we're dancing. And Floyd Mayweather, he dances in the ring. He's hopping around. He's not throwing haymakers. Now he will from time to time, and I will too. Like when the time is right, I'll rear it back and I'll throw a hammer fist. But for the most part, I'm dancing around. I'm jab stepping, I'm sitting back, I'm waiting, and just I like to see sales dance. And Floyd Mayweather is a dancer or a boxer. So yeah.
Okay. I like that.
What would your martial art be?
Well, I want to my gut answer is boxing, but now that makes me look bad compared to what you said.
Well, I compare myself to Floyd Mayweather, which is absurd. Like Floyd Mayweather, one of the best of all time. I am not one of the greatest salesmen of all time.
As the guest of honor, can you propose the challenge of the week? Every week, I challenge my listeners to do something to move the needle forward toward being the person that they want to be. So, what's the challenge that you've got for them?
I love this. Call at least one family member, call at least one friend, ask them questions, check in on them, make yourself available to them because as I mean, and this isn't like super relevant to sales itself, but
That's okay.
as I get older, the people who I really love and care about, and I've got like a lot of friends in different kind of parts of the country, and I've got family. It just gets harder and harder to kind of keep those relationships fresh, checking on them about their work, checking them about their romantic life or whatever it is. That's just you being a good person. It took me a long time to kind of never, not that I was ever like a bad person or a mean person, but I just wouldn't make an effort to like reach out to people who I love and just like a concerted effort to do that. And that means so much to them. And we kind of talked about this earlier, but sales can be a very isolating game. It's we're on a Zoom, we're in our, we're just maintaining and growing relationships with people who you love. Like life is short, and that would be my challenge.
I love that. And sales is life, life is sales. It's all intertwined, honestly. The connection that my brain immediately makes to that is that if we feel disconnected to our loved ones, that's going to be in the back of our minds eating at us, and we can't show up as our best self if we're feeling, disconnected in some way. So that's what I love so much about the game. It's really um it's everything. At least for us, right?
I totally, totally, totally agree to that. And when you reach out to people who you love and you make yourself available to them, when you do just, and this is going to sound so cheesy, but it is what it is. Cliches are cliches for a reason again. You hold the door open for people. You offer to do things unprompted to help people out. You go to the gym, you work out. You work out every day. Those things all just make you better at sales without having anything to do with tactics or objection handling at all, because it makes you feel good about yourself. And feeling good about yourself in a sales call is super, super important. There will be a looseness and a confidence that transfers onto prospects in those calls.
That's a really great note to end on. Um, that being said, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for coming on, Patrick. You've shared so many nuggets. It's really cool hearing your perspective as someone who is a natural because I'm telling you, like everyone is just like absorbed in training all the time. And so to hear your perspective and how you're able to just like dance and just flex and just chill out and have fun with it, so dope to have you on here. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, guys, please rate the episode, whether you liked it or not. I would love to hear your feedback. And you can also subscribe to the podcast on whichever platform you're listening on so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, don't forget to hold yourself to a higher degree so you can be the most effective leader you can be. Till next time. Bye, guys.